So for so many women are now working for nothing for the rest of the year, you know, in terms of what they're getting paid. But just even, you know, broaching that conversation or putting yourself into that realm to be that woman, to lift your head above the parapet, which we are afraid to do, and especially in certain industries, to say it out loud and go, actually, this doesn't seem right. How did you get involved in it originally? Like, where did it land on your lap?
What the hell did you do that
for? Land on your lap?
I suppose going back, it was my mum who started it, and she was just a firebrand. And mum is still with us, but she has very progressed dementia, so she's still feisty. But for her, she was a career woman when none of my other friends' mothers were career women at the time. You know.
Well, that was probably at a time in De Valera's Ireland where.
Oh, well, now not quite De Valera's.
No, but what I mean is, like,
there was a hangover there for sure.
Yeah, because De Valera's Ireland, if you were getting married, you gave up your job and gave it to a single woman.
Exactly. So, but her mantras were always have your running away money. If you're not part of the revenue, you're not part of the decision making, and they're valid, right? Yeah. And they still hold true because money is choice, and economic empowerment is choice, and it gives us options. And I suppose I just really I took it to heart. I listened, and then when I started off the rails a million years ago, I thought, well, what can I do with this profile now? How can I you know, take what I know, take what I'm good at, and do something with it? And at the time, I read about Dress for Success. We've now rebranded to WorkEqual, and that was to help women to land the job. And we did that by giving her the clothes to present at interview and giving her the messaging to be the best version of herself. But I suppose about 7 years ago, we realised that, you know, fixing the women was not going to do it, that we had to really look at the systems and how we were doing things and legacy workplace practice. And that's when we kicked off the Gender Pay Gap campaign. And by the way, at the time, I was laughed out of Dodge. Everybody thought I was making it up. They thought, you know, I coined the term gender pay gap denier. But now we're on it, and we have the people behind us.
Talk about it, Sonya. It wasn't spoken about. I remember watching an interview with yourself and Brendan a couple of years ago, and Brendan and yourself speaking about when you had gone for your contract negotiations, it became apparent that he got paid more than you, and he went, "Now, hang on a second, we do the same job."
And it's really interesting that you brought that up. That's a different thing. So equal pay for equal work is enshrined in law since the mid-70s, right? So that's one thing. The gender pay gap is the earning potential of women versus men in the economy. So it's really important because a lot of people, from the research that we've done, they don't understand that distinction. And so the earning potential doesn't stop there because it actually creates a pension gap at the end of life. And it's about, I suppose, equal opportunities in the workplace, because the way of working for men is different than the way of working for women. And that's a lot to do because there's a sort of a social expectation that women are going to do the brunt of caring duties, for example, both elder care and early care. So, you know, what we're really looking at is, OK, just because we've always done it this way doesn't mean there isn't a better way. And that's why we went to Iceland recently.
But that was what I was going to say to you, because actually the cold face of it appeared that it was just this very small issue about this pay gap and pay, and as you said, it was far beyond that. It was way farther reaching than that, but it was just that first moment of, hang on a second, and actually then for someone like you to again speak so openly and talk about those things, go, no, actually this issue is way more than something you think that, you know, in the sense of it is the smaller part of it. And obviously you went over to Iceland and to see the way that they did things over there. What were your
that was mind-blowing, to be honest with you. And we met, like, one of the things about the way we work is we have two pillars that we have to hit, and that is, we don't want to talk about the problems. Everybody knows what the problems are. We want to talk about the solutions. How are we going to fix this? And the other piece is that we can't make assumptions from our own perspective. We have to speak to everybody about their experience, whether they're trade unions, whether they're industry, whether they're elected representatives, whether they're individual men and women who are citizens. We need to know what it looks like from all those different angles so we can build the right solutions. And I suppose the three things that we came away with from Iceland was they have instigated legislation, and the only way to do this, by the way, is through legislation. We have to make it happen. Their legislation is for shared parental leave. Men and women, or the two parents, share parental leave, and that's 4.5 months, and then 6 months to share. They have, wait till you hear this now, this will blow your mind, universal, sustainable, affordable childcare for all. And that is, the parents will pay 10% of the cost of that, and that is funded through the state. And, you know, there are people out there who are saying, we can't afford it. Well, actually, we can't afford not to, because in territories where that has happened, the worst case scenario is that it's cost neutral. The best case is that that adds 20% to GDP by unlocking the potential of women to join the workforce.
Okay, look, I've had 2 more grandchildren this year added to our fold, and 2 sons who had to take annual leave so that they could be at home. So 4.5 months would be a joy. Best of luck trying to get that one across the board.
Well, do you know what? There's a lot of really difficult steps, but I think if we're calling for a national strategy on childcare reform, so that we can see, look, we're going over there. It's going to be really difficult. We're going to have to tackle hurdles, but there's a good reason for it.
We need to speculate to accumulate. So many women that I know, myself included, literally I work and just pay my childcare bill.
Oh, I know.
Like, and that's it. But you want to stay out. You want to stay working in the workplace. You want to get up and you want to show your children that sense of purpose. But it's like, well, you're just handing over. And it's like, if you keep those women in careers, you keep them in the workplace, we're speculating to accumulate. You know, it just makes sense.